Now, unfortunately, I have to pour a little water into the wine of the beautiful words on the happiness about the teacher's presence. We humans are giving the opportunity to live in the world of the teacher. But we have to earn this privilege by a worthy comportment. If you are in a low vibration, in a state of aggressiveness, hate, anger, irritability, or depression, you cannot approach the teacher, and he will not show himself to you. The subtle world is close, but not always the one of the teacher. In an impure atmosphere, only lower, unclean beings will surround you. You yourself either approach or move away. As on earth, so in heaven. If you are behaving inappropriately, you will have to leave the world of the teacher. In order to understand this better, we must make a short detour into the realm of theory. Agni Yoga uses a term that we mention here for the first time, and which, unfortunately, is often translated incorrectly. Attachment. Agni Yoga is given to attach people to the higher world. What does that mean? We had just said, heaven is near. The spiritual world is not bound by the limitations of matter, time and space. It exists all around us. It arches like a bell over every place of the earth. The material plane is only the lowest level, the basis of the pyramid of the worlds, which includes the subtle and the fiery world as well. The three worlds form a unit. They exist at the same time at every place. You should imagine the higher spiritual worlds as a stage set, an invisible to the outer senses, but nevertheless real scenery against which your material earthly life takes place. This spiritual background of your material life is formed by your own thoughts, feelings, wishes, dreams, ideas, ideals and imaginations. That means the material level can be modified to a limited extent only, but the spiritual world in which you live, you define yourself. We have already said several times with Schopenhauer and Agni Yoga, everyone lives in his own world, regardless of the external circumstances. This, of course, does not relate to the material, but to the subtle plane of the pyramid of the worlds. When the three worlds are one, that means the material plane on which you are living is always connected to a subtle sphere. That might not be true for cows, but human beings cannot exist without a mental order of their physical existence. Therefore, every material place on this earth has a spiritual superstructure. Over the area Germany, for example, we have created a subtle world which consists not only of a state, with all its laws, regulations, rules and officials, called Federal Republic of Germany, but also of the habits, customs and traditions, as well as scientific, religious and ideological ideas that have developed here over the millennia. You are always connected to the spiritual world. The question is, to which level? To a low or to a high one? In the subtle world, there is an infinite variety of thought constructions, ways and forms of life, from the highest, noble, to the lowest, primitive ones. They all strive to embody themselves on earth as a material reality. Which one of these ideals you choose and arch as a superstructure over the place where you are living is entirely up to your choice. You can live in Plato's ideal state, in the order of a gang of robbers, or, as in the jungle, in a world of selfishness, injustice, and struggle of everyone against everyone. In other words, you can attach any location on earth to any higher or lower level of the subtle world. We now return to our subject and allow the abstract knowledge we have gained to bear fruit. You can attach yourself to the subtle world in which your teacher lives and works, wherever and in whatever material circumstances you are living. You can choose his abode as the spiritual world, the subtle scenery against which your material life takes place. We do not want to fall into a mysticism which makes you believe that the teacher will sit down on a chair that is made ready for him. What a presumption! How dare you summon the teacher and dispose of his time and movements? What do you know with which urgent cosmic tasks he is busy right now? Attachment is the magic word. The better view is not the teacher comes to you, but you put yourself in his presence. You attach yourself to his world as closely as you can. All that is still pretty abstract. Can't you explain this more concretely? Let us unfold once more our imagination. Where does a teacher live? With his disciples in an ashram, a sanctuary, or a temple? A wise teacher is a magnet that attracts many followers. At the feet of his home there will be a settlement, a village. There are dwelling those people who have not yet risen so high that they can be accepted as disciples into the ashram, but who nevertheless want to live in the new order, the higher culture, which forms around the master under his guidance. In the other world, this ideal is already a reality. After your death, you may live in such an ashram or village. On earth, for the time being, we are not ready for that yet. We are still in the preliminary stage, on the virtual way of living as if, but thereby we are preparing the material realization of our dream. We shall talk about the life of the disciples in the ashram, in the broadcasting living in the ashram of the teacher. Today we are addressing the normal practitioner who wants to enjoy the benefits of living under the guidance of a great master and spiritual leader without immediately becoming a disciple. For him, we offer another variant of our exercise. Imagine living in a village at the feet of the teacher's ashram. You choose this settlement as the spiritual background against which your earthly material life takes place. You live like the citizens of a medieval city who, in their everyday life and work, always had the castle above them, under whose protection and guidance they stood. Like this castle, the ashram of your teacher is situated above your dwelling, not physically, but in spirit. In scientific terms, we say, if the subtle world is everywhere, the teacher's subtle village can be the spiritual superstructure of material life anywhere in the world. How do I practice this theory? By attaching your earthly home to the village in the subtle world. Again, you should not think so much of a place. You are joining a community. As long as the conditions for physical communities are not ripe, as long as there is not a single place in the world where people are living together according to the rules of Agni Yoga, you have no choice but to become a member of a spiritual community. The spiritual community of the subtle village becomes a reality on the material level in various places. Your house, too, wherever it stands, can become a part of it. Then the pyramid of the three worlds looks like this. Material level, your place of residence or home. The scenery of the subtle world around you, the village at the feet of the teacher's ashram. Theory world, one level up, the ashram of the teacher. The attachment is effected via the heart. That is why we said you carry the teacher in your heart. You cannot imagine your virtual life in the teacher's village lively enough. The ashram is always in sight. From your home and place of work, you look up there over and over again and make sure that you are still attached to the world of the teacher. The teacher visits every house in the village during the day. He comes by your home too, discusses the upcoming work and exercises, and examines the results you have achieved. You, like the other inhabitants of the village, visit the ashram every now and then for meditation, training, exercises, and service. I do not quite understand yet. What exactly am I to do in order to attach myself? Wherever you are, you must overcome the separation of the worlds and realize the ideal of the unity of all three worlds. Usually, the material plane is separated from the top of the pyramid, from the supreme spheres of the fiery world, and is attached to lower layers where untruth, injustice, ugliness, and lovelessness reign, then the picture of the pyramid of the worlds looks like this. You accomplish the union of the worlds by creating the conditions of the higher levels on earth. Shambhala is the indispensable site where the spiritual world unites with the material one. To work there where the spirit has descended into matter, the conditions of both planes must be met. You have to bring the earth closer to heaven. Only then the latter will not be far away from where you live. In general, that means wherever you stand, you establish the cosmic order, realize the higher will, and enforce the principles of truth, justice, beauty, and love that apply in the higher spheres. Regarding the attachment to the world of the teacher, this means in concrete terms, you create at your place the same pure and solemn atmosphere as it prevails in the settlement at the feet of the ashram. You follow the rules and customs governing there. You live according to the way of life observed in the upper world, in a village under the guidance of a master. The age-old demand applies. As in heaven, so on earth. That means heaven on earth is realized when we create a spiritual order in which that what is valid and forbidden above is also valid and forbidden below. We shall go into the details of the important and fruitful habit of attaching oneself to the world of the teacher in later broadcastings. It is an indescribable exhilaration to be able to live in the world of the teacher, in peace, quietness, joy, equanimity, and unshakability, in harmony with the higher spheres, with the order of the cosmos, and with you, yourself, your higher self. When you are living in the presence of the teacher, the paradise on earth has become a reality for you. Look for such a happiness not in the outer world, but in the heart, in a state of your consciousness. In distress, temptation, and affliction, you may always seek refuge in this spiritual world. Do not give up this closeness. Nothing external can prevent it. Only you, yourself, can move away.